has been a while since I felt like the target audience. I actually forgot what that was like. Space Marines 2 makes you feel nostalgic for those Xbox days when Gears and Halo were top dog. This game is like simplistic, but it goes a long way. It has that Gears of War grounded feeling, yet it paces and challenges you more to the lines of how Halo's campaign did. I played on the veteran difficulty, the intended difficulty, which I think was really good. The Tyranids and enemies felt powerful and one of them could kill you. At the same time, you felt really strong, and if you played well and strategically, you were able to feel like a badass. Now before I go and start praising the gameplay, because this is kind of what we all came here for, to feel and play like a Space Marine, I gotta give my critiques. And probably the biggest critiques of the game is sometimes it is too cinematic and not immersive enough for you. So there are moments where the game has a repetition system where you're being swarmed by small enemies and attacked by elites. That's kind of the core principle of the game. On top of that, they have boss fights where an arena style map and you have to fight off a boss and you see their health bar at the top. When I say the game is too cinematic, there are moments where there are these larger than life enemies that you don't necessarily get to interact with. Not like in Halo where you first saw a scarab and you got to go inside of it to take it down. That's the worst of it. And the gameplay's actually really good. The simplicity comes into play where you have a counter and a dodge. Armor that acts like your shields in Halo. It goes one step further and giving you a variety of guns to use. And each gun does feel, sound, and act in its own way. It has its own characteristics, so you can play to your style. And even though I said before that the core gameplay is repetitive, they do a lot to give you variations on what's going on. Every level has its own identity. For the most part, you don't really have a repetition in objectives. Not towards you get to the halfway point of the game, then you start having to do some of the same objectives over and over again. But it's never to the point where you just roll your eyes and think, oh, this again. From making the game a survival to capturing objectives, to turning it into verticality with jetpacks and having to dodge snipers, the game is always introducing new features and new enemies to interact with so that you're always on your toes. This makes dropping the game and picking it back up so much easier. I wanted to go back and play more of this game because I was like, oh, what's gonna happen this level? Even the bosses differ from one another. From some that you have to be more patient with and shoot them from a distance, to others that don't stop attacking you non-stop and you have to dodge, and they always up it a notch. It never feels like you're fighting the same boss twice, unless you are fighting a boss again, which they turn into elites. This game was absolutely designed for you to have fun, making it so where you could play with your buddies and friends throughout the campaign, but also jump into multiplayer and jump into this end game progression survival system where the story has a place and there's other missions going on while you're doing the story, and then you can experience those other missions through multiplayer, and there's just other things for you to do, and none of it is pay to win, pay to progress. None of it has pay for skins. It really does harken back to those old days where you just hop on with your buddies and play some matches, play through the story together, talk about what characters you like and what guns you think are the best, and it felt really good. That sense of nostalgia was something that I thought was long gone. The AI companions have their moments in the campaign. They will help you defeat enemies. For the most part, whenever you stun an enemy, they'll let you get the final kill, and whenever the enemy is about to get out of their stun, they'll make sure to finish it off so you don't have to continue dealing with it. But for the most part, the best thing they're good at is making sure you don't stay down and bleed out. I am disappointed, especially with games like Mass Effect, which had a pinging system for the party to tell them to attack a certain enemy or move a certain place. The pinging system is in the campaign, but only for if you're playing with your friends. There's no real way to interact or use your companions in the game at all. So you're going to go into this campaign really just playing by yourself, and every once in a while the enemies might get distracted or attack your AI companions. For the most part, they're nothing to really gawk at or have fun with. They have their moments. I dipped my toe into the multiplayer a little bit. It's not going to be anything revolutionary. I don't think it's going to replace games like Valorant or Call of Duty anytime soon, but I do appreciate that it's there. I like that it's an addition to the game. It's something, if you want to keep playing Warhammer, you want to keep playing the feel of this game, it is there. And it's really fun too. You can go in, pick out these different classes, and everything does feel overpowered and powerful. It was weird playing as a sniper and getting more kills with my pistol than my actual sniper, but it still encourages that whole brotherhood storyline that was going on in the campaign, where you want to play with your team. Even if you're just playing with one other person, you can really dominate against the other team. But it doesn't mean if you aren't skillful and strategic with how you play, you can't take on multiple people on by yourself. Now, as for the second half of why you might want to play this game, and definitely a big reason why I play this game, is the story and the narrative. Some of my favorite parts when it comes to anything that you guys probably know already. I see a lot of people saying that this game is good, the story's good because it keeps the story simple and that it doesn't overcomplicate things and the characters aren't complicated. And I actually really disagree with this. I think modern writing has a lot of exposition and it's too busy telling you how to feel instead of showing you how to feel. And this game has good writing and does a good job at bringing out the characters' flaws. And it's because these characters have passions and desires that cause them to fall. And this is just basic writing. By showing and not telling. We look at Carrion, and he has a love for his brotherhood and what they have done for him, how they have saved his life. He is instantly loyal and always shows respect in regards to all of his brothers. He trusts Titus before most other people do because he loves the brotherhood so much. But whenever he sees them die for pointless reasons, he's actually the first to kind of betray Titus because he is so passionate about the livelihood of the Space Marines and his brotherhood that he becomes vengeful, and that seek for revenge causes him to actually betray his own brotherhood. Gadriel is by the books. He loves to read. He mentions it multiple times how he will research things, and knowledge and information is what drives his decision making. So when Titus withholds information from him, and when he can't find information on Titus, it is easy to understand why he is able to distrust Titus and why he is able to be manipulated into betraying him as well. As for Titus himself, he is probably the definition of empathy and does more to show how men and human beings should really treat each other than modern writing has done in recent years. This is a journey for him to re-find his trust and faith in his brotherhood. No quote better resonates with him than rules imprisoning intelligence. And what sets apart Space Marine 2's writing to other games writing is the fact that these moments are short and sweet. We hear them talking about it when we're in the middle of a mission. The cutscenes don't drag on with exposition. Every character says their piece and they'll say something with repetition. Gadriel, anytime he speaks, it's always about how he read something, how he stayed up researching something, how he read this in a book, how he has information on this. That is how I know about Gadriel. I didn't go and find a codex somewhere that told me everything. I didn't wiki this. The game naturally progressed Gadriel's story for me to understand what his passions are and how those passions led to his flaws. Because the key to good character writing is turning strength into a weakness. Hey, I'm Mario. I like playing video games, watching movies, and Dungeons and Dragons. If you keep getting me in your suggested videos, or you're watching this video right here, consider subscribing. It goes a long way. Thank you. Space Marines 2 is a product that knows its target audience and strives to make a game that lets you live out your Warhammer dreams. The core gameplay can feel repetitive with elites and swarms, but variations in situations as well as enemies keeps things fun and new. The story tells a narrative where characters' strengths and passions could bring about their own downfall, but courage and trust in the Brotherhood saves them. A cinematic experience for anyone who is fans of Warhammer or interested in getting into the franchise, which is why I have to give Space Marines 2 an 8 out of 10. Until next time, guys, play nice.